Welcome to Lesson 9 on doing calculations and queries. As you will see in this lesson, when you need information that isn't in your database but can be obtained from the data you already have, Access lets you do calculations very similar to what you would do in Excel. Here are the next 3 reports in our assignment. As you may realize from the work you've already done, information such as commission earned and profits doesn't exist in our database. To get the information we need, we will once again start with the data combine query we have been using in the previous lessons and enhance it to include the commission earned and the profit calculation. We'll also need to do a cost of sale calculation, as you will see. And in doing these calculations, results will reside as virtual field and can be used over and over again. We will split this lesson into 2 parts. In the first part, we will add the calculations to the data combine object, and in part 2, we will create the actual queries to produce the reports. Let's open the data combine query in Design View and get to work. We will close the Properties dialog box so we can reclaim the space. Then we will put the calculation field to the right of the last field in our grid. When creating a calculated field, the name you give the field and the actual calculations both go in the field row, separated by a colon. First, we'll type in the name of our field, commission earned, and then a colon, which means we are ready to enter the calculation. In our assignment, the commission earned calculation is total sales times the commission percentage for each salesperson. We'll enter it as total sale times commission. Note that, as in Excel, the multiply function is an asterisk. You also see that the field names are entered in brackets. The only other rule you have to know is that if 2 tables on your grid have the same field name, for example, if there were fields named sales in 2 different tables, you have to put the table name first in brackets and then the field name separated by a period. If you make a typo when entering, this box will pop up. Just hit cancel and correct your mistake. Let's review, and we see that the calculation works. Now we'll do the cost of sale calculation, which is necessary because the cost shown in the product table is for one item, but the sales transaction can contain multiple items. We'll name the field cost of sale, and it equals quantity times cost. Again, we put the field names in brackets. The profit calculation is similarly easy now that we have the other calculations completed. The calculation for the assignment will be total sale minus cost of sale minus commission earned. A great advantage of using calculations and queries is that you can use other calculated fields you just created, which is a real time saver. Before we view it, let's open Properties and set the formatting of each of the calculated fields to currency. Once Properties are open, you just click on each field to make the change to currency. And when we are done, we can click View or Run to see our results. Now let's rearrange the fields and review the results on the top row. Sale of 1,000 minus commission earned of 60 minus cost of sale of 270, which is 2 times $135, equals 670. So this calculation works perfectly. The others will too because it is doing the same calculation on all the rows. An important thing to keep in mind is that these queries produce information based on our data. They don't actually touch our data. Therefore, you can make as many edits and changes as necessary to get the information you need without worrying about corrupting your data. So that's the end of part 1 of our lesson on calculation queries. In our next lesson, part 2, we'll use the newly enhanced data combine query to produce our next 3 reports. I'll see you there. Lesson 10. In this lesson, we'll use the data combine query that we just modified to create the next 3 reports in our assignment. As usual, for each query we will be as efficient as possible, which means we'll copy prior queries and make minor edits. So let's begin. The first report is commission by salesperson. Let's copy query 5, total sales by salesperson, and paste it as 6, commission earned by salesperson. We now open the new query in design mode and make the following changes. We delete the transaction count and sales average fields that we don't need. We then add the commission earned field. We change group by on the total line to sum, and then we change the format to currency, 0 places. And finally, we change the caption to commission earned. Let's examine the result in view mode. It looks good, so we can save it and close. Next is profit by product. We will copy the sales by product query as number 7, profit by product. We will now open in design view. We will change name to product name and add in cost of sale and profit. The newly added field should be changed to sum. Let's do a one-time change in the caption of the added fields, as well as change the format to currency with 0 decimals. Let's view all the changes. We can now click Save and then Close. For the last query, number 8, profit by salesperson, let's just copy the query we just made. We'll save it as 8, profit by salesperson. We will now open in design view and change product to salesperson name, and we're good to go. Click View, admire your work, and click Save and Close. So this is the end of the lessons on our calculation queries, and I hope they move smoothly for you, and you are getting comfortable with the select query object and the many things it can do. I also hope you appreciate how easy it is to create new queries based on prior ones. For example, if you wanted to produce profit by office, all you had to do is take the product query, save it as a new query, and just change product name to office. The next lesson will be our final query lesson in this course. We will learn how to make crosstab queries, which are similar to pivot tables in Excel. In this lesson, you will learn the crosstab query. The crosstab query is a little more advanced, but you don't have to be concerned about that because there is a wizard for the crosstab query. As you saw with the spreadsheet import tool, wizards can make life a lot easier. That said, you may have noticed there's also a simple query wizard for basic queries. I purposefully avoided it in this course for 2 reasons. First, it would have hindered your learning, and second, I never use it in practice because it's very limited in what it can do, and queries are simple enough to create in design mode. As mentioned earlier, the crosstab query acts like the Excel pivot table and lets you form a matrix with rows and columns. I will demonstrate it using the last 2 reports in our assignment. Let's get started. Click Create, Query Wizard, and then Crosstab Query Wizard, and then OK. The first question it asks is where you want to get your data from. We will use data combined as before. But to choose it, we have to click the Queries button as before. There are a lot more queries to choose from, but the one we want is on the bottom. We choose it and click Next. Now we are asked to choose our row headings. We can choose up to 3, but we'll use just name as we want each salesperson to occupy a row. Now you can see the field on the grid below. Click Next. Now, as the instructions tell you, you get to choose your column heading. Choose Office because we want our columns to contain the name of the office and click Next. Then you are asked what data you want in the grid. Choose Sale, and then you have the usual choices such as Sum, Count, and Average, and we choose Sum. Click Next and name it 9 Sales by Salesperson Office. And that's it. It defaults to view the query, and then choose Finish and your query is built, and let's check the results. As you can see, it looks like an Excel pivot table, and it has all the information you need. Close the query, and let's do this one more time for our last report. Number 10, Sales by Office, Salesperson, Product. We'll follow the same steps as before. Query Wizard, and then Crosstab Query Wizard. This time we will pick 2 fields, Office first, and then Name, and we'll choose Next. Now we choose the Product field for the column. You can double-click the field if you want to get to the next screen quickly. This time we choose Profit and Sum. Then click Next and name your query and finish. As you can see, there is a lot of information here. And the great thing is that you can build as many of these queries as you want, and they will automatically produce updated results when you update your data. As with all the Access reports, you just build a query once and run it as often as you want. Note that with Crosstab queries, it's usually easier to build a new Crosstab query as opposed to editing the existing one, unless you want to do something simple like change the sort order. If that is the case, open in Design View, find the field you want to sort by, and simply pick Ascending or Descending. So that was our 10th and final report in our assignment. Congratulations, I hope you're proud of yourself for working your way through all 10 reports. I also hope you're already thinking about the many ways you can apply your new knowledge to whatever you currently use Excel for or are planning to use it for in the future. In the next lesson, I will show you how to bring your report data back to Excel for presentation.